I want to ask all of you, and also like OTT, we're discussing. What is your take on censorship on OTT? Because everyone gets offended with anything, whether it's the written word, whether it's what's been done in history.
Absolutely terrified with what is happening. I think it's scary.
What is that one thing that you want should change for women in this industry?
A lot of people who are championing the cause of parity between women and men and like equal pay and equal opportunity. There's just so much disparity in general in the industry.
Yeah.
That they'll fight for a woman to be a this thing, but they'll treat different departments differently. There's constant hierarchy. There's terrible pay for some people who are not as whatever. They're just
For all film related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Pooja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
See you all. I think your show is a sign of our times. We are just hooked onto the computer, and we have all become data, and we are all algorithms.
Yeah, well said. that that does summarize our current experience. Absolutely.
What's the title? Okay, computer inspired by the Radiohead album.
I mean, we think of it as a sort of like a lineage because we have been like science fiction enthusiasts for a very long time. And we really love Hitchhiker's Guide, Douglas Adams and Hitchhiker's, and which Radiohead's OK Computer is based on that. So we think of it as a lineage of from this science fiction world. So which is why I think it's OK Computer.
Yeah.
Radhika, lovely. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
No, sorry, go ahead. I was just going to add to that, but yeah.
No, please add.
No, also it's a title that made complete sense. It's a very universal sounding title. It's just the two words "okay" and "computer" can be understood across the world anywhere. So language is no longer a barrier. So if you're sitting in Uganda, you'll still understand it. If you're sitting in Laos, you'll still know what it means. It's almost like it's like math. It's a universal language. So we thought that the title made sense, and like Pooja said, we shared a common ancestor with Radiohead, and that's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So that's why the title.
Radhika, what was it like when they came up with this? Because last I spoke to her was for the very intense Raat Akeli Hai. Then she did the very, very intense Noor Inayat, and now here she is handling Peter, her robot. What was it like coming on board as Lakshmi?
So I was given the script. I did not know them before. When they gave me the script, it was 180 pager. Normally it takes me like 2-3 days at least to read it.
Huh.
And I decided it was 6 episodes, so I decided I'll read one episode at a time. Over the next week or something. So I started reading, and then I finished reading in 2.5 hours, the entire thing. And I called them saying that I just finished. I couldn't keep it down, and it was so funny and it was so bizarre, and it was so brand new. You know what I mean? And it was so original that I said I definitely want to do it, and I'm so happy I did because the people I've met, like really the best and the nicest people, some of the nicest people of my life. The time we had together was one of the nicest shooting experiences, and the content, it was challenging constantly. It was not my comfort zone at all. It was every day I used to feel like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? The co-actors were so good and so brilliant at their craft that it constantly pushed me even further to want to be better at my craft. And so yeah, it was just a great complete package that I'm so grateful to be a part of.
So whatever little I've seen of your character, she's very empathetic towards the robots. Like
Yeah.
they have feelings. How can you mindlessly, like I was deleting a file and it was her dialogue saying, file recycle mein dal dete ho. How can you do that if somebody erases your memory? And I was like, hello, what happened here?
Yeah.
So are you really like a very tech savvy person in real life? And what was it? No?
Not at all. Literally not at all. Like somebody just taught me how to make a reel 2 days ago, and I still don't know how to do it actually because I forgot. So it's that bad.
And do you also delete your files mindlessly now? Will you think twice before not,
No,
honoring
not
the memory?
delete them. I'm not Lakshmi at all in my personal life. I'm literally the opposite of Lakshmi.
So what was it like? That's what I want to ask you. What was it like shooting? Because your co-star is that robot.
I mean, what the massive connection between me and Lakshmi was that I do feel that there has to be a better species than human beings, you know. So like at the moment, I feel it's animals anyway.
Agree.
So it could be robots, and I mean, to be honest with you, there were a few scenes where I was interacting with robots, like, you know, and talking to them, and that was family, and it was so amazing because there's some scenes where Maushi bot just comes and takes the trash that you've just, like the litter, like your litter, and just takes it and does things for you, and all you can feel is just this pure affection and, you know, like warmth towards them. But that's because they're so obedient and they are just basically as the servants, which scared me, because I was like, why am I feeling affection? Because they are only going to listen to me and never going to counter me. You know what I mean? So that was
They're also cute. They're like very cute.
very
So,
cute. Exactly. But no, but to have affection towards somebody who only obeys you is a scary revelation about yourself. You know what I
But
mean?
we all do like people who, you know, obey us and don't judge us. That's why they say animals are the best.
Yeah, but animals also do what they want to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like my dog pees wherever it wants to pee anyway. Like, you know, so anyway.
Yeah. And Pooja and Neil, want to ask you that it's a sci-fi comedy. Now, we are still exploring the sci-fi genre in India. So when this idea came about, and where do you see this going? Do you think it's set in 2031? We're just 10 years away from, anyways, we're living a dystopian reality. Maybe in 10 years, Radhika might just have robots also acting, you know, if humans are like planning to just extinct themselves.
I mean, the reason why we thought, you know, when you think of science fiction, you always think of a lot of things like space travel and, you know, longevity and all those things. So we think that the present we are living in right now we already have all of this. We're already sort of living in the future. We already have technology that's really, really advanced. We have space travel also. So it sort of became very imperative for us to, you know, understand what this future meant and understand what our reality meant, which is why we also did it as 2031 as against something really, really far away into the future. As sort of a medium, as sort of a genre of science fiction, I think it's anything. Our lives are so overtaken by technology that it's sort of inescapable. Like everything we do right now should be science fiction in that regard.
I know. Yeah, true.
Yeah, and also, like Pooja is saying, technology is so invisible that we're already living with you know, an artificial intelligence presence every day. There's AI in your pockets, there's AI in your clocks, there's AI in your speakers. Of course, it's in your computers. Everything is a computer now. And that proposition is really what we want to reorient the idea of science fiction towards, that this is how fast technology is evolving. And it's only going to get more and more complex, more and more insidious in the way that this technology asserts itself in your life. So the whole point of this is for us to start having these conversations so that we figure out the next 10 years. We figure out what our law frameworks are, what our ethics are, what our own feelings are towards artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. Radhika, what's your take on this?
I don't know.
Are you okay with having robots or co-stars now in the next 10 years?
If it will happen, we'll see. Yeah, people change with time. We get adjusted to whatever happens. We'll see. I'm not a person who thinks in hypothetical situations constantly. So we'll see.
You're in a hypothetical.
That's different. I do that for a living. I don't live by it.
That's right.
But you never know, yeah. We are living in very strange times. You never know. But Radhika, you know, you've done in the last year, you've given us several, you know, I mentioned the films Raat Akeli and all. Are you happy with the kind of content that OTT is giving up? And what more do you want to see going forward as an actor who has done all sorts of roles and played all sorts of characters?
I think the opportunity that OTT has put forward is great. It's really phenomenal. in terms of a lot of different kind of subjects being explored, a lot of people being able to put their projects up, a lot of employment that it has generated, and the equal opportunity it presented to smaller and bigger projects in the whole given year. Now, I guess it's going to change once the theaters open, and I hope theaters open because I love watching films on screen. But again, there's going to be massive parity between the big projects occupying space and small projects not having that similar opportunity. So that way, I think OTT has done fantastic. I also find some of the shows that they produce are really great. What it has also done is that your competition is now no more local or regional or even national, it's international. So you have to meet that standard. But I have noticed that the production quality of most of the projects is excellent, but not so. The projects are all quite. I do feel that the quality is not how it started with necessarily. Yeah. Also because the numbers are increasing, like the number of projects that are coming is increasing, and it is becoming again like that when you produce lots, then not everything is the same quality.
Absolutely.
With so. But again, I say OTT is still relatively new. And I think suddenly there's a pandemic, so suddenly OTT got a lot of attention. Then now theaters are reopening. I think we need to have a span to then actually come up with opinions or based on statistical. I find it's too short to make, like the year that OTT came at 18, everybody was like, oh, is it going to be the next thing? I don't know why it's just this thing to rushing to jumping to conclusions and deciding what's going to happen next. The only thing we can learn from this pandemic is that don't plan so ahead or predict so much.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
I want to ask all of you, and also like OTT we're discussing, what is your take on censorship on OTT? Because everyone gets offended with anything, whether it's the written word, whether it's what's been done in history.
Yeah.
We've also become a generation that gets easily offended. What is all your, as creators and as an actor, what's
terrified.
Your take on censorship?
I'm absolutely terrified with what is happening. I think it's scary.
I mean, like as I think the role of an artist is also to shake up the society, to shake up to everyone, to shake up society, civilization, to show new perspectives, to show new, to criticize, to reflect. That's the only way, a society or a civilization betters itself. Be it anything, be it like, we have amendments in law and policy, right? Our constitution goes through amendments. That's because all of us are trying to make our lives better. Slavery is abolished for very valid reasons, and because a lot of people came and said that this is not acceptable. Our criteria for acceptability keeps changing, and artists have that role of showing that new way of living, the new lifestyles, the new rights and the new wrongs. So censorship, yes, of course, it debilitates this entire process. It's a very fearful process because you don't want to express as much, you want to play safe, which is not good for a culture, for any culture to sort of exist. You do need rights, you do need freedom of speech, you do need the right to offend to a reasonable degree. So I think that it's a sad situation we are in right now.
And I want to ask both the ladies here, to Radhika and to Pooja, like female creators' stories. We are seeing a lot of stories, female bonding, a lot of women on camera and behind camera. Going forward, what is that one thing that you want should change for women in this industry that you really want to see, are waiting to see?
Radhika, do you want to go?
Go.
I think it's very imperative to obviously have like a lot of women's stories, outright. But it's also very, very important to have creators and the crew and like the people behind the scenes, also a lot of women. The problem is that there's so few women at the top that it becomes a systemic problem. It needs to change in that sense. It needs to, like just in terms of designers, the amount of women students in design colleges are 80%. It's an incredibly high number, but the amount of designers that actually hold a CEO level position or actually hold a studio is very, very low. It's a male dominated industry, and so is all of the industries, even film is. So I think it's very important to to change that structure a bit, to change that, of course, women's stories, but also women creators and women CEOs and women entrepreneurs and women who can create women jobs also at the end.
Yes, Radhika.
I agree. I think at the moment the push is needed, because we can expect equality at one point where then equal opportunity also should be presented. But right now, I think that it needs to be more push towards having more opportunity for women, which is a whole reservation thing also in a way. In a way, I'm saying that it needs to be pushed right now, because the counter argument is like, then now why are you favoring it? But it's the need of the hour, I feel. But having said that, I'm just going to say this and leave it at that a lot of people who are championing the cause of parity between women and men and like equal pay and equal opportunity, there's just so much disparity in general in the industry. That they'll fight for a woman to be this thing, but they'll treat different departments differently. There's constant hierarchy. There's terrible pay for some people who are not as whatever. There's just so much parity on so many levels, a disparity on so many levels, that I just feel that we need to talk about disparity also at some point when we talk about, say, a pay and just in general like disparity, and talking about things more openly. Like, for example, I always thought that if we start telling each other how much we're getting paid, then eventually automatically when the information is provided, everybody will find out where exactly what kind of disparity actually exists. Right now it's all still like hearsay, right? So anyway.
And also I think that Neil should also speak about it, because very often only women get these questions and men should be a part of this conversation also.
Absolutely.
I think, and Neil is also a feminist. We have a lot of things to say.
Yeah, Anand and Neil both here. Yes.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think the men need to be active participants in this discourse and speak up when they should.
Thank you so much. And before we go, your favorite sci-fi film?
My favorite sci-fi film will be 2001: A Space Odyssey. But I have a few. I can't stop it.
I remember watching Tron back in the day, and I got so confused with the maze and the. I was like.
Which has now become. I mean, I would say my favorite science fiction today would be.
We are living a science fiction. Yeah, that's what we are living, anyways.
That is true. It's happening faster than we can imagine it. And everything that we once speculated has now come true. 2 decades ago, if someone were to imagine what would happen when AI finally clears the Turing test, anybody would have said that would be front page news. That would be the news that the world celebrates. And we have gone so farther ahead. We have AI that not only processes natural human languages, but actually is able to imagine and ideate in a way that even humans can't. And so it's AI has already surpassed the Turing test and the scope of Turing test, and that's not even front page news. We are so yes, even before we can start talking about it, it's happening.
Yeah. So your favorite sci-fi film as we wrap up? Neil, Pooja, and Radhika.
Actually, I was going to say 2001: Space Odyssey also. So I'm just telling you that's what I was going to say, and so that's there. How you talk?
Yeah, lots. Of course, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Solaris. Contagion was science fiction until last year. Then it became a documentary. Terminator, Blade Runner, Metropolis.
You're just making a list. Okay, this is unfair. This is supposed to be the favorite one. You're like, oh, science fiction films.
Yeah, The Day the Earth Stood Still. There's lots.
Did you like the new Blade Runner?
No, I meant the older one.
Yeah. I mean,
2001, I think, is like a hands down, because I think it encapsulates philosophy the best. But I think Her is also a very, very good science fiction.
Her. How did you miss out on Her? Her is
most different. Now everyone would say Her.
Anyways, thank you all so much. Looking forward to this, and hopefully we'll meet in person and we won't be interacting with robots as this predicts that day is not too far away. Anyways, but thank you so much for making something so unique. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.